אבינו מלכנו, חטאנו לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, חטאנו לפניך.
Everybody has passions in life. Everyone has things that they're drawn to. And for me, other than business and supporting my family, the thing that sort of touches my neshama, that touches my soul, is music. So it's something that I'm naturally drawn to. And then sometimes you wake up in the morning and you actually pursue your dreams and you pursue your passions. And that's how this musical production was born. The Naftali Kalfa project was actually the second album I put out. The first album I put out about 5 years ago with the Piamenta brothers, Yossi and Avi Piamenta, an album called Yul Ratzon, which was more of a rock and roll Jewish music. And after I put out that album, I sort of took a breather from making music for a while. And then I started again. And I started composing songs and recording songs. And at first I thought I would just record a few songs just for the fun of it. Then I said, okay, maybe I'll get to 10 songs and put out an album. But then there kept on being one more song that had to be added to the project and one more song. And if we already have these 14 songs, let's just add the 15th and the 16th. And we ended up with a 28 song double album. A lot of them were my friends before I started making this project. People like Shlomo Katz and Gad Elbaz. These were people that were friends of mine before I started making this project. So it was a natural fit for me to call them into the studio once I had songs composed. There were other singers where I would compose a song and then I sort of heard their voice in that song where I felt, that they can connect to that song and, it would fit like a glove, so to speak. So we'd call them in, and a lot of friendships were developed in that studio in Amit's Supersonic Studios in Jerusalem. There were a lot of friendships that were developed over there, a lot of great times, a lot of great memories, and everyone sort of has their own shitat avodah, as we say in Hebrew. Everyone has their own methodology of how they go about making music, whether it's the musicians themselves or the singers, just watching the way they work in the studio, seeing what their process is and learning from their process is something, that I was able to take something from everyone and to learn something from everyone.
What's happening, world? Sean Poe. We on the set of my latest video called Bridges. Very powerful record. Talking about life and just the obstacles and challenges that we all face. Co-written by my homeboy, my partner, Naftali. We made this record, when I met Naftali, and we was both going through our respective difficulties. And usually that's when you know who your friends are, and you get to see the truth of life.
Shine, he has an interesting story. He's someone that, being in the studio with him, watching his method of making music was also eye-opening. I had never seen something like that before in terms of just poetic genius, someone sitting there being able to write lines. As he can write poetry quicker than I could, read books of poetry. So that was really something to see. And out of that came a friendship. Out of that came a few musical tracks that that inspire me, that talk to me, that speak to me.
This whole world, the whole wide world is just a narrow bridge. This whole world, the whole wide world is just a narrow bridge. The main stage we gotta face is in the world above. The main stage we gotta face is in the world to come. And the main thing is to have no fear. And the main thing is to have no fear at all.
One of them actually was something that I composed for my wife, a song called Bridges. It's actually a video that was directed by a very talented Israeli film director, Eldad Eilat. Really good guy. Anyways, it was a very unique video production. a lot of animation and stuff like that. That was a song that I composed. I was sitting with my wife one night. I had my guitar in my hands, and she was expressing, we were in Israel at the time, and she was expressing, reservations, not about us being in Israel, me and her, but in terms of, did we put our kids into an area that's not safe? So I happened to have my guitar in my hand at the time, and I started just strumming to Kol ha'olam kulo geshet tzar ma'od va'ikar lo lefachet klal, which means, this whole world is just a narrow bridge, and the main thing is to have no fear at all. Now, obviously, when we say have no fear at all, we're not talking about yirat shamayim or fear of God, because we should have yirat shamayim, we should have fear of God. We're talking about realizing that God is the one that controls the world and runs the world, and we shouldn't have fear of the things around us. To be mekabel malchut shamayim, to sort of accept the yoke of Hashem every morning, which is what we're supposed to do when we say Shema. When we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, we're supposed to accept the fact that Hashem runs the world. And the message of the song Bridges, for me at least, was there is one Hashem. He runs the entire world. We have to do our part to follow what we understand He wants us to be doing, but that ultimately is not going to decide the outcome. He's going to decide the outcome.
The inspiration for his album, The Naftali Kalfa Project, is mostly rooted in Jewish psalms and prayers. Naftali believes that when he sings or composes, his connection to Hashem, God, becomes greater, moving and touching him in ways that make him realize the importance of the role God plays in his music and everyday life.
על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות ועל התשורות, על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות,
על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות ועל התשורות, על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות שעשית לאבותינו בימים ההם, בזמן הזה שעשית לאבותינו בימים ההם.
All the songs have messages or have are meant to inspire a certain emotion. So, the Purim song I just put out, for example, that's meant to just be a happy, upbeat song. And every word there is important. It does have a very strong message. Talk specifically about miracles, everyday miracles that happened, both the grand miracles that have happened to Klal Yisrael, from Yetziat Mitzrayim, from the Exodus from Egypt, through the Greeks, the Romans, Hanukkah, Purim. So there's the big nisim, the big miracles that we all know about, but there's also the day-to-day miracles that we take for granted sometimes. The fact that the ground grows vegetables and fruit, the fact that we're able to breathe, the fact that we wake up in the morning. When we say Moda ani lefanecha every morning, how many people sort of really, and I speak for myself as well, it's a struggle to actually internalize it and realize that thank you Hashem for actually returning my soul to me. So that was the deep message of that Purim song, but it was still just a fun, upbeat song.
I thank you for the miracles,
One of my favorite tracks on the entire album is a song called Tzion with Shlomo Katz. And that's sort of a very meragesh, it's really soulful, really touches my neshama, and it's about Eretz Yisrael and the beauty of the land and our yearning and desire, for Eretz Yisrael. So there's a whole mixture of different types of songs, from Tzion to Bridges. Again, Tzion is more of a people would refer to it as a Kalbach-esque type song, and Bridges is a rock and roll song with, you know, a rap in the middle and stuff like that. So you have that, you have Sephardic music, you have some Spanish music, you have a whole range of music. And for me, you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, why are so many of the songs with other singers and stuff like that? There are tracks on there where it's just me alone, but for me, part of what drives me to make music and create music and record music is the human connection, is sort of the achdut, is being able to share that same feeling, that same emotion, that same inspiration with somebody else. And when I record something with a fellow artist, it sort of brings that chibur, brings that connection, you know, full circle for me. The musical message is the fact that music has the ability not to change the world. I don't think any song is going to change the entire world, but music has the ability to change a person for a period of time. You can hear a song and be inspired to do good. You can be inspired, you know, if I hear songs that really touch my soul, that really touch my neshama, it might inspire me to go do something special that I wouldn't have done otherwise. You know, if someone's having a really bad day, sometimes they can just put up a really nice upbeat song and get chizuk, get strength from it. So I think music has the ability to move people and touch them and really get the places where no amount of words can do. You know, sometimes you could sit with someone for 10 hours and speak to them, and whereas if you just sat with them and put your arm around them and sang with them for 3 minutes, that 3 minutes of singing and, you know, sort of entering that person's heart and entering that neshama is a lot more powerful than, you know, 10 hours worth of words. So music has a special ability. I mean, and we'll see one day, God willing, the Beit HaMikdash should be rebuilt soon. You know, the way we serve Hashem in the Beit HaMikdash is with shirah, is with singing. So I mean, singing is very powerful. So that's sort of the musical message for me. The overall message is one of achdut and one of unity, where you could sort of have so many different, diverse people. I mean, the people on this album are anywhere from Mizrahi singers to what would be called Hasidic singers to rappers to what people call, you know, Kalbach type of music, and it's a whole mixture, and it's sort of this is on an album, so this is sort of a, you know, on a micro level. You know, if we had that type of achdut on a wider scale, I think we'd be a lot better off. And again, you know, the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinat chinam and because of lack of achdut and lack of unity. We need more achdut. We need more unity. We need to focus more on the common ground of where we have common ground as opposed to where we differ. You know, sadly, a lot of times it takes tragedies. When tragedies happen, and then all of a sudden, love is free hugs for the world because a tragedy happened. Why do we have to get to tragic moments to have the achdut? Let's have the achdut now. Let's start without the tragedies. There's enough suffering in Klal Yisrael. You know, let's sort of, I don't want to sound like a hippie from the 60s, but let's sort of put our arms around each other, hold hands, and sing Kumbaya. You know, let's have that achdut. Let's have the V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, and I think that will definitely speed up bringing Mashiach and having that Beit HaMikdash where we could have the shirah, the singing, as our form of tefillah and avodah.
נשיר שיר חדש